إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حجبت النار بالشهوات وحجبت الجنة بالمكاره أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. أما بعد. The Prophet ﷺ tells us in the hadith, in the narration, that paradise is surrounded by hardships, and that hellfire is surrounded by desires. And what that means is, when we're saying surrounded by, what we're trying to understand is that desires lead to hellfire. And hardships lead to paradise. This is the way, this is the path you have to go on to reach the destination. So if you want to reach the destination of hellfire, and Allah protect us, you would follow shahawat, you would follow your desires. And if you wanted to reach the destination of paradise, you would follow hardship. And that is a little bit confusing to understand. How do I follow hardship? Pursuing desires makes sense. I like something, I want to do something, I will chase after it. I will go after it. I want to do something Allah doesn't like, but I like to do it, so I do it, I follow it, I pursue it. How do you pursue hardship? How do you look for hardship? No one wakes up in the morning and thinks, today I'm going to make my life hard. Today I'm going to have a difficult day. No one thinks like that. Brothers and sisters, right now, especially for brothers, and I'll get to the answer towards the end, living in America, living in the state we're in right now, living in Michigan, something to keep in mind is that Michigan is a more affordable state than other states. For example, living in New York can be extremely challenging and difficult financially. But people move to Michigan because of community. People move here because they have their own people, they have a lot of Muslims, and people move here because it's affordable. You can actually own a house here. But maybe it's too affordable, and that's what I want to discuss. The lifestyle in Michigan, living here in our community, is so affordable that we have young men who literally all they do, and this is I do mean to belittle this, all they do is just go to university for 4 to 5 years, and then they get a job, and then 2 years later they can own a house. It's a blessing from Allah you're able to do that. It's a privilege from Allah you're able to do that. Whereas people came here 20 years ago, worked for 20 years, still could not purchase a house, still could not purchase a car. Whereas the young men of today's time, every year they upgrade their phones. You have to upgrade your phone, you have to upgrade your wife's phone, you have to upgrade everybody's phone. Every single year you have to do an upgrade. Because you're privileged, because you're blessed. Every single year you have to go on vacation, because it's a thing to go on vacation every single year. Because you have enough money. Sometimes you have to go on 2 vacations. Go on a family vacation, then you go on a personal vacation. Because Allah blessed you with the money. Allah made it easy for you. Allah privileged you with your circumstances. That it is that easy, and we are grateful to Allah. Allah says, if you are grateful to Allah, Allah will surely increase you, give you more. So yes, we are grateful to Allah. But what does that mean for the rest of the day for us? For a man who's 25, 26, who goes to work, and he's there from 8 to 4, for example. Let's say he's single, he's not married, because in today's time, people delay marriage. What does he do from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock? What is his schedule? What is his life? What is his purpose? And that's only if he's working the full 8 to 4. Many brothers are working, half working. It's true. You don't have to work every single hour. You have a break from no meetings from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 2-hour break. No meetings from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 2-hour break. You work for 4 hours a day. This is the reality. This is truth. So what are you doing with your time when you don't have responsibilities? People follow their desires. When you have this open time, and you have this free time, and you have the money that Allah gives you, what do? You follow desires, shahwat. Because you have so much open time in your schedule. And that's what leads us to going down the wrong path. And this is not just for someone who is single, it could be for someone who is married. It could be for someone who has children. Many people think that, look at me, I have children. But many people neglect their children. Just because you have children doesn't mean you are a responsible father. Just because you have children doesn't mean you're a responsible mother. You might have children, but you are irresponsible as a father, and you are irresponsible as a mother. Can that exist? Do we not have that? Don't we have, so people think, well, look at me, my life is so busy, I have kids now. You don't even see your kids. What kids? You have kids, Allah gave, again, Allah blessed you, it's a gift from Allah. Allah gave you kids. But what do you do with your kids? You don't spend time with your kids. You don't do tarbiyah with your kids. You don't do ta'aleem with your kids. You don't teach your kids. So what do you mean you have kids? Like, I have biological kids. Okay, great. So people think they're more busy than they are. People think they're more busy than they are. And when you have this open schedule, brothers and sisters, it leads to nothing but shahwat. Free time is nothing but shahwat. And this is the problem of today's time. That we have a privilege here in America, and for that we are thankful to Allah. We are grateful to Allah that we have the masjid open 5 times a day. I have so much flexibility in my schedule. If I wanted, as a man, if I wanted, I could be here 5 times a day, inshallah. This is true. So many men do it. But why do you not come then? If I really wanted to, for the brothers, for example, let's say you work until 4 o'clock. Salatul Maghrib is at 5 o'clock. You could come to the masjid for Isha. Something stops you from coming. Isha at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You could come to you could come to the masjid for Maghrib and Isha. But something stops you from coming. What stops you? Fajr is before your work starts. What stops you? You could be here 3 times a day. What stops you? Who's stopping you? Is your dad stopping you? Is your wife stopping you? Is your mother stopping you? Are your children stopping you? Is anyone actually physically holding you back from going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Anyone? You know, men take pride in being men. Men take pride in being men. That I have control. As a man, I have control. I can control to do this. I have authority over this. I lead my family. I lead my wife and children. I make the decisions. Okay, mashallah, great. So who is stopping you from making a decision to come to the masjid? Who is stopping you from that decision? Anybody? Nobody. Brother, everybody is welcome to the masjid. Everybody is welcome to the masjid. Whether you wear a hat or you don't wear a hat, you're welcome to the masjid. Whether you have a beard, you don't have a beard, you're welcome to the masjid. Just dress as appropriately as you can, you're welcome to the masjid. But don't feel like you cannot come to the masjid. Everyone is welcome to the masjid. So part of our schedule, brothers particularly, is that we have to make it a priority to fill up that open time. After my work, where am I going today? See, everybody yesterday knew where they were going. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. Everybody knew what their plans were. I'm going here, Dawat. Everything is planned out. Cooking a turkey takes hours and hours, but it's planned out. It's ready for 6 o'clock. You can plan everything in your life. Why can you not plan this? Wallahi, look, sometimes we think that if I go to the masjid, it takes away from my social hours. You know, Isha is 7:45, 8 o'clock. You know, I can go to I'm at someone's house at 8 o'clock. It's in the middle of the event. Wallahi, it's not. Because we have so many mosques in the area. I promise you, whatever da'wat you're at, if you say, we're gonna come back in 20 minutes. Maybe the woman can eat right now. We will come back in 20 minutes. Let the woman eat, no problem. We'll go for 20 minutes. There is a masjid on every mile, 10 mile, 12 miles, 16 mile, 18 mile. Mosques are within 2 miles of range everywhere you go. And we are not walking there, we are driving there. Allah gave you a car. So you have 5, 6 brothers sitting down, 7:30, masjid is 5 minutes away. Okay, let's step away. Let's go to the masjid for 10 minutes. We'll come back. You can do it. You choose not to do it. Wallahi, it's within your control. You know what else makes it hard? The people you're with. So if the brothers you are with don't want to pray, the brothers you are with don't like going to the masjid, it's going to be very challenging for you to stop in the middle and say, let's go pray. They say, what are you doing? You're ruining the mood. You're ruining the environment. You're ruining the fun. What does that mean for us? It means one of two things. The first thing is, if you can give them da'wah because you're close to them, because they love you and they respect you, then you should give them da'wah. But if they are giving you da'wah, if it's the opposite, meaning they're calling you towards hellfire, they're calling you towards away from the masjid, then you need to either spend time with them at a different time or find different people to spend time with. I've seen so many good brothers, not being able to progress in life because they're with bad brothers. A brother wants to do something good, his friends make fun of him. He wants to do something responsible, his friends mock him. Anytime you're trying to do anything good, people will mock you. People will make fun of you. When the Prophet ﷺ went to Ta'if, they stoned him, they made him bleed, they made fun of him. The children laughed at him. Mockery is part of the process. Remember, I said earlier that paradise is surrounded by hardships. Dealing with mockery is a hardship. Dealing with people's attitude is a hardship. Being patient with the people around you is a hardship. These are ways that you have to deal with hardship. So how do you pursue hardship? That was the question. You pursue hardship by having a standard for your life. That's how you pursue hardship. How do you find hardship? Because we have to find hardship to go to Jannah. We have to go through hardship to go to Jannah. Everybody goes through hardship. You can be a millionaire, you still have hardship. You can be a billionaire, you still have hardship. Sometimes people think if I have enough money, I won't have hardship. If I have enough, I will be happier if I have more money. There are people with so much money but no family. There are people with so much house, such a big house, no love in the house. Only betrayal, only lies and cheating, that's all they have. But they have so much money. And there are some people who live in humble homes, 2 or 3 bedrooms, with 4 or 5 kids. And every single day everyone is laughing and everyone is smiling, and also children are happy and the father is happy and the mother is happy. And Allah feeds them every single day. Allah raises every single child. Allah makes every child pious. Allah upholds the honor of that family. Allah makes that man pious. And that man dies as a muttaqi. He dies happily because he lived a life of purpose. He lived a life of purpose. Money does solve problems, but money is not the final solution. Money can never be and will never be anyone's final solution. If you are at a point in your life right now where you are thinking, if I can just make enough, this is shaitan talking to you. If I can just make enough, then I can do this. I know brothers who said they were part of the masjid, they were involved in the masjid, they spent time in the masjid. Then they said, I want to make enough money. Once I make enough money, I will come back to the masjid. They are still not back in the masjid. They are still not back in the masjid. Wishful thinking, as they call it. If I make enough money, I will donate more to the masjid. The masjid doesn't need your donation. The masjid needs you. The masjid needs you. When you come to the masjid, then your heart will open, then you will donate on your own. But the masjid does not. What is the point of having space when no one is there to fill it? Brothers and sisters, we have to take this privilege Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us with our time, with our work, with our money, with our family, with our community, and make the best of it. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد. Brothers, when I'm talking about this privilege, I want to highlight this point once more. That there are people, for any of us who go back to Bangladesh, for example, you will see people driving rickshaws, and the person who is driving that rickshaw, the money he makes that day is the money he has to feed his family that day. Maybe he has enough to feed them the next day. Because the next day he has to come back out, he has to work again, he has to earn again, then he makes a few takas, and then we go back home Bangladesh, we start arguing with them, saying, you're stealing from me. We will pay $40 for a haircut in America. We will not give 40 taka to somebody in Bangladesh. Insane. Our mentality is corrupt. We have problems in our hearts. We have big issues in our hearts. Maybe the rickshawala is lying to you. Who cares? Who cares? 20 taka is going to make a difference for you? This is our problem. We're willing to pay $40 for a haircut. $40 every 2 weeks to make sure my hair looks perfect. But someone who needs the money, oh, he's lying to me. How can he lie to me? I'm from America. This is kibr. Wallahi, this is kibr. So we have this problem with privilege. That Allah made it easy for us to get money. For the youngsters, not the older generations. Older generations, they had to struggle a lot to earn money. They had to work double time, overtime. I know many uncles who work 2 jobs. A lot of effort to make it work. Now brothers make enough money that the whole family in one job, and they have the entire evening open. What do? Second job. SubhanAllah. Why? Allah blessed you, so you don't have the same headache as your dad. Allah blessed you, so you don't have the same problem as your grandfather. Allah blessed you, so He gave you enough money, so you can come back to the masjid. Because your father was sincere, your grandfather was sincere, they worked hard, and now you have the time. Allah accepts people. Allah accepts people. There are many people, they are not alims, but their sons become amazing alim because the father was a good man. وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. It comes from Surah Al-Kahf. That Allah blessed the children because the father was pious. Who's the father? What's the father's name? Allah doesn't mention it. It doesn't matter. He was pious. You don't have to be an alim, but you have to be pious. So you have fathers who are pious, who cared, who are sincere. And because of your father's sincerity, Allah gave you privilege. Allah gave you a good job. Allah gave you wealth. And what do you do with that? You find a side hustle. Because now you want to be the next Elon Musk. You want to be the next Jeff Bezos. You want to be a multi-millionaire, and you want to have an Aston Martin, and you want to drive with a Ferrari. Because that's what you think you're here for. You're living a life without purpose. That's one problem. The other problem is the guy who sits at home and plays video games all day, does nothing. That's the other problem. So either you put all your energy in the wrong direction, or you have no energy and you're being useless. And you're being useless. Wrong direction, wrong energy. Come to the middle. Give the right energy in the right direction. That direction is here, the house of Allah. You know how much change we could make if we had more men volunteering at the masjid? You know how many programs we could hold if we had more men in the forefront of the masjid? You know how much impact we can make, even politically we can make so much impact. If we had more men who were at the masjid. Because they would take the deen seriously. They would become educated. They wouldn't go to college confused when someone asks them, why do you believe in Allah? Did your Prophet Muhammad marry a woman who was 6 years old? And they get nervous and they get scared. They don't know how to answer. They have no confidence. If they were here, they would have that confidence. They would have learned the right answer. And they would have known that we don't shy away from any questions about our religion. We are proud of our religion. We have the right answers to every question in our religion. And there are misconceptions about the religion. But how will you do that when you're outside? My brother, how will you do that? We have sisters who are dying to be in the masjid. And we have brothers who are dying to be at home. This is a problem for the brothers. We need to take this privilege Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, and we need to channel that towards something purposeful. When you don't live a life of purpose, I want to talk about this as the final point. For men, when they don't live a life of purpose, and then they turn 30, they turn 35, they turn 40, that's when the Western society calls it, they have a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis. Because by the time you're 30 and 35, in the Western society, in America, you finish, let's say you become an engineer at the age of 23. By the time you're 30, you're established, you're a senior engineer. Maybe you're a manager. You have enough money, you bought a car, you got married, you have a house, you have everything. You're going to have children now, and now you're confused. What do I do next? Where do I go next? What's my next decision? And that's when men have midlife crisis. That's when, not because they start balding, but because they don't know what to do. Because all their life they have been told what to do, like this, do this, do this, do this. But if you're not part of the masjid, see, men think the next thing is I have to retire. My next target is that I retire. I make enough money, I need to retire. So men chase retirement. Because retirement is age 64. So men want to retire at age 40. MashaAllah. That's the new target now. I want to retire by 40. Rasulullah ﷺ started his work at 40. Deen, prophethood came to him at the age of 40. And what do men want to do? I want to do nothing at 40. I want to be free at 40. Look at the sadness behind this. Rasulullah ﷺ started giving da'wah at 40. The entire deen was established from the age of 40 to 63. 23 years. He worked hard. See, if you come to the masjid, you would learn. Brothers, move forward. Don't speak, but move forward and make space for the brothers in the back. If you were learning more in the masjid, you would learn that Al-Islam has no retirement plan. We keep going until our last breath. And the best retirement policy is the person who lives a life of piety and taqwa. So when he's on his last breath, he can say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. May Allah give us an ending like this. This is the best way to leave this dunya. This is the best way to retire. to retire to the grave. Until then, it doesn't matter if you're 50, wallahi, it doesn't matter if you're 60, if you're 70, if you're 80, Deen continues. Al-Islam continues. Sharia will continue to be implemented. Your life is still meaningful. Your life is still purposeful, and you will be held accountable. Every single one of us will be held accountable. For the extreme youngsters, for the ones who are 13, 14, 15, know that if you've already hit puberty, you are accountable. Parents are no longer accountable for you. Every single sin you do, right now, your parent is not accountable for that. Allah says in the Quran, He does not put a burden on someone more than they can bear, and Allah does not put the burden of me onto my parents. So when you make a mistake, know that you are making that mistake alone with the help of shaitan. And your parents are not accountable. Sometimes we think, I'm still living with my parents, I'm still a little kid. This is wrong thinking. You are accountable. So everything you do, every good deed you do, that is your reward, inshallah. But every wrong you commit, that is your deed also. So we should make an intention. We should make an intention that I will be a true man who does have control. And when I say control, I mean control of my schedule. This is the action item for everybody. That I will be a man of control, and I will be a man who controls his schedule. I will not leave empty spots in my schedule where I just wonder, I wonder what everyone else is doing today. Why are you wondering? What are you supposed to be doing? It's because you're doing nothing, you're thinking that. We will make a schedule that upholds the Quran and the Sunnah. We will make a schedule that makes us come back to the house of Allah. You will have a lifestyle that Allah is happy with, a lifestyle of purpose. I'm not saying you can't play video games. I'm not saying you can't have fun with your friends. I'm not saying you can't play sports. I'm not saying any of that. But you have to schedule for it. And you have to schedule your prayers. You have to schedule the masjid. The masjid is not something, make an intention that if you came to this masjid after this entire week, make an intention that I will return to this masjid or any masjid before the next Jum'ah. I will not wait for next Jum'ah to go to the masjid. I will come back to the masjid today. If not today, then tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Sunday, then Monday, then Tuesday. But I will have to come back to the house of Allah because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls you every single day to the muazzin. You are being called to the house of Allah every single day, 5 times a day. Don't wait for next Friday to come back. My brother, come back today. Come back today. عباد الله اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة. Please move forward and make space for the brothers in the back so they have a place to pray. Jazakallahu khairan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an